each year we inch closer to food independence. Our journey from the concrete jungle of London to a thriving rented 1/8 of an acre growing space, teeming with fruit trees, berries, and a bounty of a whole host of vegetables. We've nurtured rows of potatoes, trellis tomatoes, sown carrots that soon will be our winter staples. Our passion lies in the garden, where we transform time and energy into a year's worth of food. It all starts with seeds, planting in spring and nurturing them in our prepared beds. This year, green fly devastated our plants. It was absolutely heartbreaking. But we replanted and we learned lessons that have made our garden even stronger. In this video, we show how we bounced back and show harvesting, sowing, planting out and curing, demonstrating that feeding a family for is a marathon, not a sprint. We work hard to have something to harvest every week of the year and pursuing our dream of breaking free of shop-bought produce and taking control of our food supply. Today we're going to be harvesting our garlic, and garlic is one of the most important harvests that we have here on the allotment. I find that it goes in absolutely everything from canned goods all the way to fresh eating. Harvesting garlic can be really tricky. You either do it too early and then you have really small bulbs or no bulbs at all, or too late and it's split and it just can't be cured. It's really important that you get the timing correct. I'm gonna go through that and how to cure it right now. It takes about 8 months for garlic to grow. So you're going to be harvesting around about June to July. Traditionally speaking, you'd actually be sowing it on the shortest day and harvesting it on the longest day. But it really does vary with things like temperature and weather and things like that. You know how crazy it is. Best thing to do just before you harvest your garlic, then you want to stop watering your garlic. It's really imperative that your garlic is dry when you go and harvest it, and that's because wet garlic is more likely to rot when you cure it. I'm going to tell you all about curing in a little while. Next, you want the bottom 50% to 70% of the plant to be dried up, which means about 3 to 4 leaves dry and crisp at the bottom, but the energy is now going down into that bulb. Another good way to indicate that your bulb is ready to be harvested is that if you've left a scape on it, the scape will stand straight up. If you're taking scapes off, that's okay. It'll be 3 to 4 weeks after you've harvested your scapes, your bulbs will be ready. But if you're not sure, and this is what I do every single time, is just dig a little hole around your garlics and then you can see the size of your garlic cloves. If they are big enough, then brilliant, pull them bad boys out. If they are still quite thin and straggly, then just bury them up. They will bulb up in no time. Once you've decided that you want to pull up your garlic, the best thing that I do, and I do this for every single garlic, I just move my hori knife a little bit further away and ease under it. You don't want to nick them beautiful garlic bulbs with anything you're digging them out with, because if you do, then it's going to completely, utterly destroy your chances of curing them. So you don't want to just pull on the bulbs, because they will snap, they'll break and they'll damage the bulb. That will be no good for long-term storage. What are you harvesting now in the garden? Let me know down below. Potatoes are the next thing we're going to harvest, and honestly they're one of the things that really make the biggest difference, and that's because potatoes are super versatile. These are our first early potatoes, and we know that they're ready when the foliage gets really yellow and looks like there's something wrong with it. But there are a couple of tricks that you need to know so that you get the most out of your potatoes, and that's stopping watering them about a week or 2 before you harvest them, and that dries them out and gets that skin a little bit harder. You also want to pick a really dry period to harvest them, and this will give you clean potatoes. You don't really want to wash your potatoes, because if you wash your potatoes, it's so much quicker that they rot. And remember, when we're looking at a year's worth of food, we really do want to minimise and reduce the amount of wastage that we've got, and that includes not sticking them with your fork. And how I do it is I just literally go in with my hands. That's my favourite way of harvesting potatoes. I feel like it's like getting buried treasure. Is awesome, and we know that they're ready when the foliage gets really yellow and looks like there's something wrong with it. And we're going to start over the next couple of weeks digging them all out, but we do need to remove them because we need to get our Christmas potatoes in. Now, the next thing we're going to harvest is cabbage. cabbage, and cabbage really makes the biggest impact because I love coleslaw, we love cabbage wraps, we love just stir-fried cabbage, you name it. It's an epic harvest for us. And there is a little bit funny cabbage. You do have to find the sweet spot because if you harvest it too early, then it's going to be completely baggy and it's going to be not even worth the ground you grew it in because there's going to be nothing of it. If you harvest it too late, it's going to split down the middle, full of water and slugs. You know when your cabbages are ready to harvest because the actual head of the cabbage is dense, which means when you grab hold of it, it feels like a marble or something super hard. That means that your cabbage is completely ripe. And this usually happens about 60 to 90 days after you transfer them. The best time of day to harvest cabbage is the morning because it stays nice and crisp and it lasts longer. Because over the course of the day, it actually loses moisture. To harvest our cabbages, all we do is I literally just pulled them out of the ground. I remove all of the outside leaves just to clean it up a little bit and then cut the stalk off at the neck of the cabbage, just like you get in the supermarket. And if you wrap them in plastic wrap, they will last 1 to 3 months in the fridge, which is a ridiculous amount of time. Now, if you do leave the stalk in the ground for cabbages, they will grow a little cabbage, but this time of the year, the real estate is really, really thought after. So I just remove the whole lot and stick something new in. Calendula is one of our most important harvests, and that's because we make nappy cream out of it. Nappy cream is one of those things that obviously I'd be buying every week from the supermarket, but this we make, this balm, is so much better than what we could actually possibly buy. It's grown completely organically, and all I do is I put it in some olive oil to 6 to 8 weeks. I heat it up, mix it with some beeswax. It doesn't take a very long time at all, and it lasts forever. So we make this a few times a year, and it is honestly a godsend. We don't have any issue with nappy rash at all now. And before we made this, I used just a commercial nappy rash cream, the one that I used for my daughter, so sore, and it turns out that he's incredibly allergic to almost all products, which is awful, but it's good that we have this and we can make such healing and wonderful thing from something that grows so readily. Now, I'm definitely not a doctor. I'm a budding herbalist, so if you've got any suggestions for me, please leave them down below. I get about this many every time I come down, and I just clip them and keep them clipped, and I'll dry them on our dryer and then store them away for when I need them. And I make sure that I always have at least 1 jar of seeped petals. Whilst we're here though, this is another great way that we're growing around the supermarket. We are completely, utterly self-sufficient in tomatoes. We have 125 tomato plants this year, and we've just had our first tomato come in. That is honestly very exciting. We don't eat tomatoes unless we grow them. So it's been a very long time since we've had a fresh tomato. It's been really exciting. They're absolutely dripping in green tomatoes. So I'm thinking it's going to be a super good year. And if you want to know more about how we grow so many tomatoes, I'll leave you a video down below. So this is something that I've just started to dabble in, and it's nasturtium flowers. I don't know too much about them, but I have read that they're antibiotic, and some of you have been telling me all about making nasturtium balm, so I'm like right on there, and I'm going to do a load of research about it this year. I do think that it is absolutely fundamental to learn a new skill every year, be that gardening or canning or medical herbs. Every year I try to learn something a little bit different, and then it makes my skill set much bigger. To really make the most of our little supermarket down here, I've got to continue planting out. These are tons of broccolis and cauliflowers and cabbages that I've got to get in. They will be giving us food in weeks to come. you do get some little critters being on there from sowing them outside, and I just make sure that I rub them off before I put them under the netting this year, just like that. And then we just cover it up so that none of the pests, including Andrew, can get in. You're the biggest pest, aren't you? Now that the harvesting and those plants are out, we can head home, and there's a ton of things that we're still doing to ensure our self-sufficiency. Lots of people take a really big step back in July, August for sowing, but don't. If you want to be sowing all year round, you really do need to be sowing now. And there's tons and tons and tons that you could be growing to have a big harvest next season in the months where you don't really have very much to harvest. This time of year feels like everything's coming alive, but it is also the time of year that we're going to have to start shutting up our seeds and putting them back in the box for next season. So time is really of the essence. We are running out of time when it comes to sowing seeds. So every week we're going to be smashing through what we can actually sow. The days are now getting shorter, so things have less time every day to grow, which sounds mad because it's swelteringly hot. But this is the compost that I've just have here from the last time I've sown. And I've got some perlite here, or vermiculite. Perlite's super cool. It is just like tiny bits of like almost foam, but it's actually rock. And what it does is it creates a really good environment for your roots so they don't drown. If you are over loving your plants, which is super common, right? I do it. I know you do it too. This helps them to drain. All plants like really drained soil. They like to be watered, they don't like to be overwatered. So this helps. I'm going to use 1/3 of this perlite with 2/3 of just an ordinary potting compost. Let's see if these blunt scissors will cut this. This is Thatcher's. It's just ultra organic. It is the name of it. I love this one. And it's like £5 a packet. Hello, Bailey, 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 Bailey. Bailey, 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 Bailey. Look at that. It's a slab and a half. Put him down. I promise you this is light and fluffy. How you know this is a good compost? So you crush it in your hand like this, and then you can make it all fluffy like that. That means it's a good compost. Now, this is nice and damp because I left it in the rain overnight, but if yours isn't, you can just water it. That'd be great. Start off with these trays. These are a really good size. They are about 1 inch square pots. These are really good because I find that they don't dry out too quickly. Anything smaller than this, I don't water enough and the seedlings germinate then die. So I really like this. I'm just going to be filling this. So I'm pushing these down because I want them to be fully formed so that when I push them out, they don't crumble. But you don't want to compact them too much because then it'll be hard for seedlings to germinate. If you have anything that you think that I should be growing, stick it down below and I'd love to hear what you've got to say. Growing a year's worth of food is absolutely useless if you don't know how to store it. So I thought I'd give you the lowdown of how to store your garlic, an essential self-sufficiency skill. Garlic is super easy, but there are a couple of things that you can do that really hurt your ability to cure your garlic. Curing garlic means that it's dried, it's ready for long-term storage. Storage could be from anywhere from 8 months, and I've literally this year had them last up into a year with correct storage. Don't be tempted to wash your garlic before you cure it. You don't want to be entering any water. That's why we stopped watering them about a week or two before we harvest them. We want them nice and dry. The drier they are, the quicker they are. If you get them really wet and soggen, they're way more likely to rot, and that's not what we want. Curing garlic is super easy. All you have to do is take your garlic, and put it on a surface and let it dry out. So as you can see, it's still green, it's quite limp. What you're wanting is it to be super crispy, just like you get in the supermarket. To tell that your garlic is completely cured, you'll feel that the roots have gone like a brush. You know them brushes that your nan had, like brush the carpet and stuff? That's what it'd be. There'd be absolutely no green left here. It will all go brown and papery, just like this. When you think it's completely, utterly dry, you'll cut it, and if there's any green left in that stem, you still need to cure it. So let it stay. And the final test would be if you opened it, the cloves would fall apart really easily, whereas when they're fresh, they're very difficult to separate. In dry, warm conditions, it will take 2 to 4 weeks to cure garlic, but it can take up into 6 weeks. Now, if you feel any moisture in there, it's not ready, let it dry out. Now, this is the most important part. You've done so much work growing garlic, harvesting garlic, just leave it to dry. If you rush this process, you will have it mould.